What tiny detail connects a teenage country songwriter? A record-breaking stadium tour, secret album clues, friendship bracelets, and a 10-minute song that became a pop cultural event. Taylor Swift's career is packed with public moments that look almost impossible when placed side by side. In this video, we'll follow the creative choices, awards, reinventions, records, surprises, and very specific Swiftian habits that turn songs into a whole universe. Some stories involve guitars, some involve cats, some involve business moves so precise they practically need a spreadsheet. And the best part is this: the strangest details are often hiding in plain sight. Taylor Swift entered Nashville's songwriting world unusually early, signing a publishing deal with Sony/ATV while still a teenager. Instead of waiting for someone to hand her a finished identity, she arrived with notebooks, melodies, and the calm determination of someone treating homework like a future stadium setlist. Her early reputation was built around writing her own material, which helped separate her from many young performers being shaped mainly by outside teams. Nashville got a teenage writer with a guitar, a pen, and apparently no interest in sitting quietly in the waiting room. Taylor Swift's early image became closely tied to the acoustic guitar, the instrument that helped carry her first songs from private writing sessions to public stages. She used it as both a writing tool and a performance anchor, especially during the country phase of her career. The guitar made her songs feel direct, like a diary had somehow learned 3 chords and booked a showcase, before the giant tours and elaborate productions. That simple instrument helped introduce her as a songwriter who could stand in front of a room and tell the story herself. In 2006, Taylor Swift released her self-titled debut album, introducing herself as a country artist with personal songwriting at the center. The record included songs drawn from teenage experiences, which made the storytelling feel specific rather than factory polished. It reached a wide audience and helped establish her as more than a new voice with a radio-friendly chorus. For a debut, it worked less like a polite introduction and more like someone sliding a full diary across the table and saying, "Track 1 starts now." Taylor Swift's debut single was called Tim McGraw, which was a bold first move because it put another country star's name right on the front door. The song was not really about celebrity worship. It used his music as a memory trigger inside a teenage love story. That made the title instantly recognizable while the songwriting stayed personal. As introductions go, borrowing a superstar's name for your first single is like ringing the doorbell with a marching band, but somehow making it sound tender. Taylor Swift's album Fearless won Album of the Year at the 2010 Grammy Awards, a major moment that pushed her from rising star to industry headline. At the time, she became the youngest solo artist to win that category. The album's success also showed that her country pop storytelling could travel far beyond one radio format. Winning Album of the Year that young is basically the music business handing over a trophy and whispering, "Please remember to do your taxes." For her 2010 album Speak Now, Taylor Swift wrote every song by herself, making the album a clear statement about authorship. The project arrived during a huge commercial period, so the solo writing credit was not hidden in fine print for only trivia experts to find. It placed her storytelling directly at the center of the record, from the ballads to the sharper, more dramatic songs. Plenty of artists bring a village to the studio. For this one, Swift basically brought a notebook and told the village to wait outside. Taylor Swift has publicly embraced the number 13 as a lucky symbol throughout her career. She has explained that it connects to her birthday, December 13, and fans have often spotted the number in performances, posts, and tour culture. What many people treat as unlucky, Swift turned into a personal brand detail with stadium-level commitment. It is rare to see a superstition get promoted so successfully that it practically deserves its own backstage pass. In her early album booklets, Taylor Swift often used capital letters inside printed lyrics to spell out hidden messages. Fans learned to scan the pages like detectives, looking for clues connected to the songs. It turned a standard lyric booklet into a tiny mystery game, long before every album rollout became an internet investigation with emotional spreadsheets. The music was the main event. But the coded messages gave listeners one more reason to read the fine print, instead of losing the booklet under the car seat. With Red, Taylor Swift pushed beyond her country roots and blended pop, rock, and electronic production into the album's sound. Songs like We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together made the shift especially obvious, while other tracks kept the emotional storytelling familiar. The album became a major transition point before her full pop transformation. Red sounded like a country artist walking toward pop music with purpose, carrying a banjo in one hand and a giant chorus in the other. Taylor Swift released the 10-minute version of All Too Well in 2021 as part of Red Taylor's version, turning a long-requested fan favorite into a major event. The song then reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, despite being far longer than a typical chart-topping single. That made its success feel almost like radio had agreed to take a scenic route. A track once known as a fan legend became proof that sometimes the extended version is not extra baggage, it is the whole suitcase. Then came 1989, the moment Taylor Swift officially packed her country suitcase and moved into synth pop with excellent lighting. Released in 2014, the album leaned into bright hooks, electronic production, and a cleaner pop sound inspired by the late 80s. The move was risky because changing lanes in music can feel like parallel parking a tour bus. But 1989 won Album of the Year at the Grammys, proving the transformation had fully landed. To launch 1989, Taylor Swift chose Shake It Off, a song that basically entered the room wearing sneakers and refusing to sit still. Released in August 2014, it turned criticism into a bright, bouncy pop single about moving past noise. The music video showed her jumping between dance styles with deliberately goofy confidence. It became a massive hit. And suddenly, the world had a chorus designed to remove negativity like lint from a sweater. With Blank Space, Taylor Swift did something clever. She played the exaggerated version of herself before anyone else could. The 2014 single used sharp lyrics and a theatrical music video to turn tabloid stereotypes into a polished pop character. Instead of explaining the joke, she decorated it with mansions, horses, drama, and one very memorable pen click. It was satire in designer gloves, and it showed she could turn a rumor into choreography. The 1989 album did not just sound different, it looked like someone had turned nostalgia into stationery. Its packaging featured Polaroid-style images, handwritten notes, and a visual identity fans could recognize instantly. The format matched the album's crisp, personal city pop feeling without needing a giant explanation sticker. Soon, the Polaroid look became part of the era's personality, like a scrapbook that had learned how to top the charts. When Reputation arrived in 2017, Taylor Swift changed the visual weather forecast to black, white, and heavily underlined. The album cover used newspaper-style typography across her image, making the design feel like a headline that had walked into a recording studio. This stark look matched the album's sharper sound and dramatic rollout. It was not subtle, but neither is a newspaper font shouting your name before breakfast. During the Reputation era, Taylor Swift used snake imagery so boldly it stopped looking like an insult and started looking like stage equipment. The motif appeared in promotional visuals, merchandise, and especially the Reputation Stadium tour. Giant snake designs became part of the show's dramatic atmosphere, turning a symbol of backlash into a controlled performance theme. It was branding with fangs, but the kind that knew exactly where the spotlight was. The Reputation Stadium tour proved Taylor Swift could make a stadium feel like one enormous diary entry with pyrotechnics. Running in 2018, the tour became the highest-grossing US tour at the time, according to Billboard box score reporting. It filled huge venues with massive screens, synchronized staging, and a setlist built for maximum volume. Basically, it was not a concert so much as a pop earthquake with better costume changes. After Reputation's dark newspaper mood, Lover arrived looking like someone opened a pastel paint box near a wind machine. Released in 2019, the era used hearts, pinks, blues, glittery visuals, and romantic pop imagery. Taylor Swift's presentation shifted from sharp shadows to bright softness, giving the album a completely different visual temperature. It was like the previous era left the room, and a rainbow immediately asked for stage directions. Cruel Summer had one of the strangest journeys in Taylor Swift's catalog. It became a major hit years after appearing on Lover. First released as an album track in 2019, the song gained fresh momentum through fan enthusiasm and explosive live performances on the era's tour. In 2023, it was promoted as a single and climbed to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. That is not a slow burn. That is a song dramatically returning with sunglasses. In July 2020, Taylor Swift surprised fans by announcing Folklore just hours before releasing it. The album arrived with a quieter indie folk sound, black and white visuals, and storytelling that felt far removed from her glossy pop eras. Instead of a long traditional rollout, she basically knocked on the internet's door and handed everyone a cardigan. The surprise worked, and Folklore later won the Grammy for Album of the Year. With Cardigan, Taylor Swift opened the Folklore era by stepping into a music video that looked less like a pop launch and more like a secret room in a storybook. The video, which Swift directed, moves from a cozy piano scene into magical, nature-filled spaces while keeping the song's soft, emotional tone. It introduced the album's quieter visual language: wood, warm light, mist, and one very hardworking piano. Basically, the piano did more traveling than most luggage that year. Just when listeners were still unpacking Folklore, Taylor Swift released Evermore as its companion album in December 2020. She described it as continuing the world she had started, leaning further into fictional stories, quieter textures, and songwriter-driven scenes. Instead of a giant reset, it felt like finding another hidden door in the same cabin. Folklore was the surprise guest, and Evermore was the guest who brought snacks and stayed for the weekend. On Folklore, Taylor Swift shifted attention toward imagined characters instead of only direct personal storytelling. One famous example is the teenage love triangle connecting Cardigan, August, and Betty, where different songs reveal different sides of the same messy situation. Swift later explained this structure during the Folklore Long Pond studio sessions. It was like a high school drama. Except the lockers were replaced by acoustic guitars and emotional weather. Taylor Swift gave Folklore a stripped-down second life with the Long Pond studio sessions, released on Disney Plus in 2020. In the film, she performed the album with Aaron Dessner and Jack Antonoff while explaining how many songs were built. The setting was rustic, quiet, and focused, making the album feel like it had stepped out of the headphones and into a cabin. It was a recording session with the energy of a very elegant group project. Taylor Swift turned the idea of re-recording old albums into a major public creative project. After a dispute over the ownership of her early master recordings, she began releasing new versions labeled Taylor's Version. The plan let her revisit past eras while adding fresh vocals, updated production, and extra songs. Most artists open a vault carefully. Taylor brought a flashlight, a schedule, and apparently a full marketing department. Fearless became the first full Taylor's Version album when Taylor Swift released it in April 2021. The project revisited the era that had helped make her a global star, including new recordings of familiar songs and previously unreleased tracks. It also showed that the re-recording plan could be more than a legal footnote. It could become an event. Nostalgia arrived wearing cowboy boots, but this time it had upgraded studio equipment. In November 2021, Taylor Swift released Red Taylor's Version, expanding one of her most discussed albums with a large set of additional tracks. The release brought renewed attention to the Red era, especially through songs from the vault and extended storytelling. It turned an album many fans already knew into something that felt freshly unboxed. The red scarf became so famous it practically needed its own dressing room. Taylor Swift gave unreleased songs a playful identity by labeling them From the Vault on her Taylor's Version albums. These tracks were presented as songs written around the original eras, but not included on the earlier releases. The idea made each re-recorded album feel part restoration project and part treasure hunt. It was less like bonus content and more like Taylor sliding a secret envelope across the table. For Midnights, Taylor Swift turned physical album collecting into a tiny interior design challenge. 4 vinyl variants were released with back covers that could be arranged together to form a clock face, with a separate clock kit also promoted. It connected perfectly to the album's late-night theme and made shelves suddenly feel like puzzle boards. Buying records became slightly closer to assembling furniture, but with better songs. In the Anti-Hero video, Taylor Swift leaned into comedy while exploring exaggerated versions of anxious inner dialogue. She wrote and directed the video, filling it with surreal scenes, awkward self-confrontation, and visual jokes tied to the song's lyrics. The result made introspection feel theatrical instead of heavy. It was basically a therapy session where the couch got replaced by special effects and extremely specific facial expressions. Taylor Swift turned Lavender Haze into a full purple dream, not just a music video. Released in January 2023, the video matched the Midnights era with cloudy rooms, cosmic colors, flowers, fish, and a mood that looked like someone spilled violet paint on a dream journal. Swift also directed the video herself, keeping the visual language close to the album's Sleepless Night theme. It was basically a stylish apartment where the lighting bill clearly said, "Make everything lavender." Taylor Swift did not design the era's tour as a normal greatest hits concert. The show was built like a live museum of her career, with each album getting its own visual world, costumes, colors, and stage personality. From Country Sparkle to Folklore Forests and Midnight's Shimmer, the concert turned discography organization into an Olympic-level event. It was less "here are some songs" and more "please fasten your seatbelt," we are changing decades in 3 seconds. One lyric helped turn eras tour crowds into tiny jewelry factories. In You're on Your Own, Kid Swift sings, "So make the friendship bracelets," and fans took that instruction with the seriousness of a royal decree. At shows, people traded bracelets with song titles, album references, inside jokes, and enough beads to threaten luggage weight limits. The result was a concert tradition where the merch line had competition from homemade wrist diplomacy. Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour took the stadium show and moved it into movie theaters with blockbuster confidence. Released in 2023, the concert film became a major theatrical event, letting fans watch the tour without needing a stadium seat, a travel budget, or advanced bracelet logistics. It broke records for concert films and turned cinema lobbies into glittery extensions of the tour. Popcorn had probably never felt so underdressed. Taylor Swift has treated the Billboard charts like a very tall staircase and kept finding extra steps. In 2022, she became the first artist to claim the entire top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100 in a single week, led by Anti-Hero. Her albums have also repeatedly opened at #1 across different eras, showing unusual staying power from country beginnings to pop and beyond. At some point, the chart must have considered charging her rent. Taylor Swift made Grammy history by becoming the first artist to win Album of the Year 4 times. Her wins came for Fearless, 1989, Folklore, and Midnights, covering very different chapters of her songwriting and production style. That record turned one category into a timeline of reinvention rather than a single lucky night. The trophy shelf, meanwhile, may need structural engineering and a polite warning label. Taylor Swift has let listeners hear how polished songs can begin as rough little voice memos. On releases like the deluxe material around 1989, she shared early songwriting drafts that captured melodies and lyric ideas before they became finished studio tracks. It showed the less glamorous side of songwriting, tiny recordings, unfinished phrases, and ideas trying to behave themselves. Basically, a voice memo can start as "maybe this works" and end up living rent-free in millions of heads. Taylor Swift gradually moved from starring in music videos to directing many of them herself. She directed videos including The Man, Cardigan, Willow, Anti-Hero, Bejeweled, and Lavender Haze, shaping not only the songs but also the worlds around them. That expanded her role from performer to full visual storyteller, with credits that made the clipboard officially part of the era. When the artist also directs, the director's notes probably arrive already rhyming. Taylor Swift turned hidden clues into a fan sport with no official referee and far too many color theories. She has planted hints in music videos, outfits, captions, dates, and announcement details, encouraging fans to decode what might be coming next. Some clues have pointed towards songs, albums, or re-recordings, while others have sent everyone politely spiraling into detective mode. At this point, a purple nail polish bottle could accidentally start a 3-hour investigation. Taylor Swift's cats have become small but memorable guest stars in her public creative world. Olivia Benson appeared with her in the Blank Space video and later in promotions, while Benjamin Button famously joined her life after appearing in the Me music video. Their cameos add a very specific kind of glamour, expensive sets, professional lighting, and a cat deciding whether the schedule interests them. It proves even a superstar's production can be negotiated by whiskers. At many Taylor Swift concerts, one of the biggest suspense moments is not a firework, a costume reveal, or a giant screen. It is the acoustic surprise song. During the Eras Tour, she built a tradition of playing different songs on guitar or piano, giving each crowd a little musical lottery ticket. Fans tracked the choices online with the seriousness of people monitoring weather satellites. It turned familiar songs into once-in-a-night moments. And suddenly, every stadium had its own secret ingredient. Taylor Swift often uses the piano like a reset button in the middle of a massive stadium show. Big pop songs can suddenly become slower, quieter, and closer, as if the arena has briefly shrunk into a recording room. On the Eras Tour, these piano moments help balance spectacle with songwriting, because even glitter needs a water break. The result is a reminder that a huge production can still pause for one melody and a very dramatic bench. One of the Eras Tour's most replayed transitions happens when Taylor appears to dive straight into the stage. The moment uses theatrical illusion and screen effects, making it look as if she swims beneath the platform before the next era begins. It is less concert logistics and more magician with a tour budget energy. Fans quickly turn the clip into a favorite online moment, because apparently even changing songs now requires a dramatic escape route. For the music video for The Man, Taylor Swift did not just direct the story, she also starred in it under a full visual transformation. The video presents her as a male character to satirize double standards in public reactions to ambition and confidence. The makeup, wardrobe, and performance were so detailed that the final credits revealed the transformation like a backstage magic trick. It was a music video, a directing flex, and a very busy day for the prosthetics department. Taylor Swift released Christmas Tree Farm in 2019, turning a festive part of her public backstory into an original holiday single. The official video used home movie-style footage connected to snowy childhood memories and seasonal cheer. Instead of inventing a fantasy North Pole, she leaned into a real Christmas tree setting already linked to her story. It is one of the rare pop songs where the origin story sounds like it came pre-decorated with lights. In Miss Americana, Taylor Swift is shown in creative spaces where songs, rehearsals, and career decisions are still being shaped. The documentary includes studio moments and behind-the-scenes footage that move beyond the polished final performance. Viewers see drafts, reactions, and discussions before everything becomes stadium-sized and sparkle-resistant. It is a useful reminder that a finished album may sound effortless, but somewhere there was probably a couch, a notebook, and a very patient microphone. The Eras Tour wardrobe helps separate Taylor Swift's different album worlds before she even sings a note. Colors, fabrics, silhouettes, and sparkle levels shift with each section, turning the concert into a moving visual timeline. The outfits support the storytelling, so the audience can instantly feel which chapter they have entered. It is basically a history lesson, except the textbook has sequins and the transitions require extremely fast costume planning. At the 2024 Grammy Awards, Taylor Swift used an acceptance speech to announce her album The Tortured Poets Department. Instead of saving the reveal for standard post or press release, she turned the stage moment into a direct message to viewers. The announcement immediately sent fans searching for titles, themes, and clues like a literary emergency drill. It was an awards speech, but with the surprise ending of a trailer drop. Taylor Swift's album packaging has often made the physical release feel like part of the listening experience. Booklets, photos, lyrics, and written details gave fans something to inspect while the music played. Earlier releases even encouraged close reading through hidden messages in lyric booklets, turning album ownership into a tiny detective assignment. Streaming is convenient, but a booklet can make listeners feel like they have been handed official homework with better fonts. Taylor Swift's tours and releases have built a truly international audience, with huge demand across North America, Europe, Latin America, Asia, and Australia. The Eras Tour expanded that reach with stadium dates across multiple countries and record-breaking attention around ticket sales and concert attendance. Her music now travels faster than many people's luggage, and with fewer airport complaints. If you liked this content and want to stay tuned for newer celebrity curiosities, please do not forget to subscribe and stay alert to your notifications. Thanks for watching.